And I make that in the form of motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Lee, John Duncan, 3-year term, EDC, Curtis Taylor, 1-year appointment. And the motion will have a second. I'll second it. Thank you, Dale. All in favor? It passes. And Alan, you're gonna be back up again with, Crowder Gulf contract amendment.
So that was a state, payment schedule review for debris. And so that did apply to Crowder Gulf as well. So this board is just gonna, approve the contract amendment for Crowder Gulf. We did a notice to proceed, and then a day later, they had a new, schedule of payment, from the state. So that's what this is. Again, we did it for, SDR. We need a motion and a second to approve the Crowder Gulf contract.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve pending attorney review. Is that correct?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I'll entertain a motion. Yes, ma'am.
So this is through the 56 days, that's through the first 180 days?
That finishes that one. So I put them on a shorter leash.
Okay.
That way we can get it done before reimbursement.
Is there the option to extend past that date
Oh,
if
yeah.
needed?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, and we probably will. I suspect to move that project.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve pending attorney review for Crowder Gulf contract amendment?
Make a motion.
Motion by Lee. Second. Steve second, all in favor? All right, 12 consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Don. No, Dale. Do I have a
Say that for me.
I can't. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
All in favor? Motion carries. And Ms. Mavis,
Where'd you go?
finance officers report.
Not anything else, except I will say that, remember the 24th of February, we're gonna do
The workshop.
the workshop on budget. We will talk about this year's budget, where we're at, and we will talk about planning for next year's budget, and we'll look at dates and set those. So we'll know what the schedule's gonna look like, then we'll do presentation, public hearing and all that. And then Christie's going to do update on the opioid and talk about opioid for the second part of that.
What did we say on the, time?
5
I'll walk on the 24th.
on the 24th, and I think we said maybe we're gonna try to hold it within like 2.5 hours.
I think we said we was gonna provide, this light snack.
Well, what kind of light snack would you request?
So we're not meeting on the 18th, right?
We will find
Not very many
something.
food options. We might have-
That's why
We are suffering in the food options these days, but we'll find
So you
something
would have
for
some
you.
candy, fill up your candy dish.
Yeah, my teeth, I gotta go get a crown tomorrow, my teeth's right now.
I just,
So,
okay, county managers report.
Alrighty, so yes, we've been talking to a lot of folks over the past couple of weeks. And one of my things that I do in this job is I've got my disaster recovery hat on, and we're talking a lot about fire risk. We're talking a lot about debris removal. We're talking a whole lot about private bridges and roads, but private bridges are a priority for our citizens. And we're talking a lot about FEMA. So, starting out with, fire risk. Fire risk is, we had fires down in McDowell last week. We had a little one start here, but we got it out quickly thanks to our, the quickness of our volunteer fire, fighters. We, as we go into dry weather, we are saying, be on guard. We do have a lot of debris down, and if that debris catches, that is a risk for a deadly fire. So, as we're moving through that, we're always letting our folks know. So, you know, the county, is running, we got limited funds. We're a small county. We're asking for assistance from the feds and from the state. We're letting them know that, hey, a lot of them got filled in during the storm. We're letting them know that, you know, we need, Forest Service assets deployed nearby, to where they can quickly go to a fire and start getting that. We're letting them know, as I get into the bridges, that bridges are out. A house fire that can't be responded to via a fire truck can catch the woods on fire, and it's very dangerous right now as far as our risks for follow-up disasters. Our roads are not as good as they can. They're getting a lot of traffic on them. As we go into spring and the fall, their ground's a lot softer. We are a very fragile county. We are looking at, we're definitely letting the feds know and the state know that one of our main risks is fire. We want them to be aware that we don't want to be a California. We're ready to mitigate. We're ready to remove the underbrush. We're not trying, we want to, we love the environment, but we want to mitigate fire risk, and whatever it takes to do that, be it known Mitchell County is looking for grants, and we're looking for funds from this storm to mitigate that. I will say Chuck Edwards is very aware of what I just said. I gave him a color heat coded map of where the most debris was, and Mitchell County's that, but the surrounding counties are on the mountaintop are pretty high as well, Avery and Yancey. We let the, he is the FEMA, he's on the FEMA task force, we let him know. Let's talk a little bit about FEMA. We wanna make it better, and while a lot of our boots on the ground are doing a great job, we got a lot of new hires with FEMA, and they're not doing a very good job of getting information to our citizens. We are advocating to get, better folks in there, so when you go in there and you do that FEMA application, you're gonna get, qualified help that knows how to key them in the system. A lot of our folks, they're not as computer savvy, our older folks, and some of our younger ones, myself included. You know, they need that, person to navigate those, websites and make sure that, their need is addressed in FEMA. They need that follow-up, that FEMA follow-up, because a lot of times you're gonna, get a letter in the mail and you're gonna need someone that does that day in and day out to get that. I'm talking with our FEMA representatives to make sure that our, disaster resource center, our recovery center is, staffed to where they can start really helping our citizens. Our citizens, I welcome y'all to go out to that place, and we're trying to get things moving a little better. That center will be open for another month, and we do look at the numbers of people visiting, going out there. And for you to be able to get some of these state grants, they are tied to you applying for FEMA. And I'll say this, you know, you might say, I'm going into this bureaucracy and this government red tape, and it's like getting a tooth pulled, or Steve talking about a crown. It's not fun stuff, but you got to get yourself in the system in order to start opening those doors, because a lot of it's running off that. And FEMA will probably go through some big changes, and hopefully for the better as we go through the next few months. But I want my citizens here, I want my folks and your friends and your neighbors to be able to get what they're due through the storm. And you pay your taxes, you are good citizens, you don't ask for nothing. Go out there and put your application in and get that in the pot where you can start being considered on things. And yes, I know it's difficult. So I'll say that about the FEMA individual assistance side is a headache, but please go out there and do it. Private bridges. So, you're gonna need to follow up. I'll say this, you can email me, if you are a bridge that's out and you've got children that can't get to school, I want you to email me, manager@mitchellcountync.gov. We want, if you are a medically fragile person and you have no way out and you only have, your bridge is out, let me know. I'm doing bridge assessments via our emergency management, folks throughout the county. We're going on every, stream, every watershed, and while we're looking for debris, we're also looking at bridges that are out and bridges that are damaged. So we're trying to get us a list of, bridges that are still out. We're trying to make sure that our folks are, getting their needs met, and, here's the regulations that get in the way of us moving quick on a bridge. You say, well, you're sitting there in this seat and, you know, I got a volunteer group that can put a bridge in tomorrow. That's true. They might can put an emergency one in, but in order to get your bridge moving properly and get it reimbursed through the state and also get it, it has to be able to support a fire response vehicle, the weight of a fire truck, because that's the whole point. We're getting the fire truck to your place. It also has, right now, FEMA's requiring an engineering study and they're requiring a no-rise study. I am pushing hard to try to get those studies waived on the repairs of bridges. And I know Ted Budd and I know Chuck Edwards have both heard me loud and clear on that. And I do know Ted Budd's trying to move that, some wording forward to say that in the case where an engineering study is not required, that a no-rise study would not be required. And that's basically in the case of a repair of a bridge. Your bridge had the water washed over it, had a little erosion on the edge, and some of your slats are all washed out and debris bent a little piece of it. That shouldn't require a 6-month no-rise study. That should be an easy fix by, you know, moving a few things on your decking and pouring a little concrete behind that. So I'm pushing hard for that, and I'm sending a lot of letters out. I even sent one up to Trump on that, you know, saying the fire and the bridge. I don't know if he got it, but I tried anyway. So when he went down to Asheville, I said, please give this to him. And, you know, we're trying everything we can on that. Talking a little bit more about debris, and then I'm gonna answer a few questions that were here sent to the county. So our debris is, I've divided the county into 2 sections. I didn't feel like debris was moving quick enough, so I've moved a new debris contractor in to the Bakersville North area. And as they're getting on there, they're gonna clean up the, very congested debris area of the Iron Mountain, Pumpkin Patch, Fork Mountain, Poplar, some areas down towards Pigeon Roost, Tipton Hill area. Those areas got a lot of down trees, and I'm needing big equipment. This group says they have big equipment. I've given this group about 57 days to try to get it all out. So I'm trying to say by approximately April 1st, I want to see 99% of the roadside debris moved. That's my hope. That's my goal. That's why I'm pushing another group in. So we're the only county that's put 2 of them at once in here. So I'm either gonna be a 0 or a hero on that. We'll see. But we're trying, and that's, you know, we're trying to move things and get them moving. Waterway debris, we're scoping out waterways, and we're having our folks that are with our emergency management and our soil and water. Our local people know a lot of where things flood, and they know a lot of the critical infrastructures. So they're out on the ground and they're putting GPS coordinates in where there's debris. If you see them moving through your community, you know, and they say they have a GPS app, which we got, we're specking out the debris. You know, they might be asking permission to come and look at the creek behind your house to spec out that debris so we can get it moved. Waterway debris removal, we've mapped out the Cane Creek watershed right here that's threatening the town of Bakersville, and I think we're about finished with the Spruce Pine North Toe River watershed that's threatening Spruce Pine. Those were our first 2. We've submitted the Cane Creek one, and they have accepted that watershed, and we have asked the Corps to come in and do that job. And so the Corps of Engineers would bring a prime contractor in, and, you know, they're a federal entity, and they would do all the permitting, they would do all the environmental, they would do all that in-house. And so now the scoping of the job is coming in to be. So when the Corps gets it and it gets scoped out, FEMA and the state look at that and they've accepted it on their side. The Corps of Engineers has that. They're gonna get a specific scope. And so when there's debris spots out there that are threatening critical infrastructure, we can go out there and assess what's going on with that job and put eyes on it. So when they get out here, a lot of times that debris is moved by linear foot. There'll be strewn debris maybe over point, GPS coordinate A, 300 yards down to GPS coordinate B. They will get in there and they'll remove that debris. So I'm learning in the world of government that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So, of course, the Corps is the one that we're moving forward with, but I'm setting a plan B up and putting the pieces together so I can quickly go to a contractor if the Corps doesn't work out. But the commission board has approved the Corps of Engineers to do stream debris removal. I have been pursuing the Corps and moving that forward since late November of last year, and always kind of, letting the state know. So I've got that documented, but we were kind of at this scoping point. We're telling the Corps to move forward. If the Corps says we're a year out, then I'm gonna come to this board and I'm gonna say, look, I can get this contractor that gets reimbursed, and we're gonna try to get it done sooner, because I don't want a flood coming because they pushed us out. Now, I'm hoping that the Corps will move quickly and that they'll pay high pay rates so our locals can maybe plug into those jobs, our folks with heavy equipment that are in the county and the surrounding areas, but the county specifically. So that's one of my major motivations for really pursuing the Corps hard, and I know this board is also thinking the same. Another motivation that we have for the Corps, of course, the environmental assessments are done in-house, and that is not a cash flow from the county. The Corps does all their payment and everything outside the county, so you don't have to take the county's tax money and then get it reimbursed. And a lot of times that's 4 and 5 million a month when that stuff's going through there, and then you're waiting 45 days or more to get it reimbursed. So you don't want to throw your money out there waiting. We can do it if we have to. We just would prefer that if the Corps is running smooth and clean, that we use them. Like I said, I got a plan B going, the Corps plan A. Some questions I got on the internet, and that was sent to me. Get these glasses so I can read them. This one says, just curious why the commissioners chose the other contractor over the Army Corps. They did not. The commissioners chose the Army Corps, and that is documented in the last meeting. They've always been pretty much going down the aisle of saying that they want the Corps. We've considered all options as board. I've watched them. The board always trying to look at what's best, but they've always kind of been on board with going with the Corps of Engineers. How long of a process are we looking at for river and waterway debris removal? So when we finally get folks on the contract and we get them into the creeks and cleaning out that debris, let me do a hypothetical timeline. Okay, let's say the Corps is got a new administrator over, and our one that's got a fire lit under as a person, and they're ready to roll on these things. And I've got the Cane Creek watershed here. I'm hoping that within the next month, they'll start giving me some contract details and some time frames, and then maybe 2 months out, that you'll start seeing some debris moving out of those creeks. And as the Cane Creek one's coming on board, I'm bringing a lot more into the workload of all the other watersheds. So every watershed that's got debris in it in the county, basically all the watersheds are gonna be assessed and scoped and GPS coordinates on debris while we're looking at bridges and all the critical infrastructure. So I do want you to know the process it'll be years as we're working on everything, as typically is in disasters. If I were saying that the realistic look, my hopeful look is that maybe they'll be out here working the Cane Creek watershed in about 60 days. That's my hopeful look. My realistic look is probably midsummer. You'll start seeing a lot of the Corps working in the waterways. But it'll be probably about a year process at the earliest, and maybe multiple years depending on, how well and how efficient things go, and scopes and environmental concerns, all those things play into the timeline. All right, so another one here, do we know when the railroad tracks in the middle of the Tow River, in the river, the Tow Gorge, or Nolichucky Gorge, I think is what they meant, would be removed? So a lot of the track is washed into the middle of the river, which makes it very dangerous for those who are doing recreational use of the river, such as rafting and kayaking. I know that down at the trestle in Poplar, they are moving track out, but there is a huge amount of track for several miles that are on and off in the river. But I have seen some removal. I will keep an update on that. There is a CSX website that's tracking that, and I'll have to double check that down. But right now they're moving it, and they're motivated, and they're required to get it out. The timeline for the river, or for the railroad repair, from what the CSX folks told me about a month ago, is looking at, optimistically, they said early summer, probable about September 1st, the tracks will be going again. And if you look at how big a project that is, that'll be amazing if they're done by September 1st. Okay, will the county finally install a working flood gauge to replace the one Hurricane Fred broke at Riverside Park? So that has been one that I've been asked about on several occasions, but it is a NCDEQ thing that they have to do on these river gauges. So the county doesn't have a say in that, and I see Dale knows that too. So it's one of those things that we can ask them, and we can hope that in this storm they'll get to it. We'll see, but that is out of our hands in many ways. We can ask on that, and we have in the past. Hopefully they'll get that fixed, and maybe they'll go in and do a bunch now that the storms, I'm sure, knocked a bunch out.
And you could probably ask, I think you've got a meeting with DEQ on the 21st, so you could just make a note
Yeah.
to ask on that.
That's a good idea.
One thing you could do is, we did it at Baxter, we petitioned, to get a gauge put in above on the Catawba River. So,
Oh, yeah.
so maybe reach out to courts and, and see if that would be, they could write you a letter cause it would benefit them to have that information. Cause basically we can go on the website, see what the rain's doing
Mhm.
above the plant, and you can monitor it real time.
In more gauges, are giving us a lot more heads up, so that's a good point. I'll make a note of that. So, that's kind of covering a lot. Like I said, we've got some great, volunteers also in the county. I've been doing the VOAD meetings. And so you got these ones, in the front end of the storm, you got a lot of people that come out there and they're busting it, and they're doing a great job, and they're getting you they're helping you get your mucked out and everything. But then we got some that stayed there with us, and we've probably got about 5 or 6 volunteer groups that's been there from day one and going to be here for 2-3 years, and they're doing a lot of great things for our citizens. They're rebuilding their houses, and it's not going through that the paperwork and the bureaucracy. They're just going out there, they're talking to the people, they're meeting the need, and they're fixing things. And just finally, here's another discussion point. I go to a housing meeting each Monday, and today's was, this is the 3rd one, and they give you a rundown of what you got in the county. So of 111 people that recorded major damage or destroyed home, there was 111 of them that were applying for FEMA housing. And of that 111, we have 6 in the process of getting a house, and 1 that's got a house, or trailers for FEMA, permanent trailers. So out of 111, it pulled down to 7. And, FEMA's and the state's been doing some travel trailers, but you know what? The nonprofits basically got that fixed. I think there's about 60 plus travel trailers that were given out for free from church groups, from nonprofits, from foundations that came into the county. and met that need. So, you know, when you look at that, you know, it's 111 took a hard hit. Of that 111, about 40 of them said they preferred to stay at their major damaged house. And then another 40 or so, 50 maybe, said that, and I got the specific numbers, but just giving you the ballpark. 50 of them said that they would, they had found other means of housing. And then about 10 or 20 they couldn't get back with. And so it rolled out that, you know, there were 7 that went through that process. And that's a pretty major breakdown, that those 111 really didn't get any much housing assistance. I'm sure there was some individual assistance given along the way. So that's not a complete accurate statement of saying they didn't get help. It's just that they didn't get the housing and they may have needed it. Only 7 got that. So there's just a lot of things, that data points that, you know, we as a county need to look at and be aware of. And
And when they say 111, is that 111 people or 111 like homes?
that's 111 FEMA applicants.
Okay, so there's probably more.
So they
people
could have been
living
a
in
household apply.
it. Okay,
So that would be what that would be. It'd be a FEMA applicant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just kind of looking at the numbers on there. But as far as things go, you know, we're getting closer to spring. We're getting out of, you know, starting to warm up. We're gonna start seeing a lot of this debris moving. We're gonna start seeing our waterways get fixed up. We're gonna be hoping and praying that we get some, forest fire mitigation funds in here and some programs in place to start working that end of it. And, we're rebuilding. We're gonna see our, county departments get into place in about 4 months. We're gonna, see some houses being built. There's a lot of houses being built, and some of them, most of them aren't going through the FEMA route. They're going through the nonprofit volunteer group route. So, you're gonna see some things coming back. And, you know, when we get to summer, we're gonna have the grass growing once again. We're gonna have our parks cleared of debris piles. So there is an optimistic look, you know, as we sit in the middle of winter. Sometimes it's easy to get pessimistic, but, it's gonna start getting better. You're gonna see it.
Let me ask you a question. I think it was Samaritan's Purse that contacted us about possibly putting, forget how many houses here, but we needed the land, put the houses on, because we've been able to find adequate land for that to happen, or is that sort of gone by the wayside?
No, we're getting land here and there, but it's very hard to get adequate land, being the key word.
Okay.
Water and sewer plug-ins and having enough to do a bigger project. And even the state at a meeting said, you know, hey, we can build a subdivision over here and bring these people from here, here, and here and put them in there. But then when you talk to the people, they're like, we don't want to move from our community. That's where our church is, our fire department is. We built our life down there, and, you know, some of these subdivisions are 30 miles away. They might be in the next county over. So, you know, there's a lot of what I'm seeing done right now with Samaritan's Purse, all of them, is repairs and on-site building, unless it's in a floodplain. But we are getting little bits and pieces, but not big amounts. We need about 50 acres really of something with water and sewer that we could put a bigger project on.
Alan, do we have a tentative date for a ribbon cutting for the sheriff's office, or are we not to that point yet?
We still gotta get our punch list done. I would like to see it do a nice turn. We got a temporary certificate of occupancy there, a TCO. I would like to see us get that completely finished, and maybe as we go into spring, get us a really good ribbon cut and bring everybody there.
The only other thing, and you touched base on it at the EOC meeting this morning, but do you remember what roads they were gonna, or they said that were gonna be tentatively closed this week and next week, just so that the people on the live stream have a heads up?
Yes, so Friday, at the Poplar Boat Landing, I think they're gonna have to cut the road, so starting after school lets out, or gets the buses go through at 8 AM. I think from 8 AM for a big portion of that day, that road will be, it'll be stopped, traffic will be stopped there. And then, I think it's Snow Creek,
Snow Creek at the NC-80 end of Snow Creek.
NC-80, thank you, John. NC-80 in the Snow Creek will be out starting Monday of next week, and that could be around a 6-week, repair job. So it's gonna be a pretty big one down in there. So there'll be some closures if you're going down through the Snow Creek area near Highway 80.
I just wanted to make sure that was out there for people to get a heads up on. And then, Dale, if you wanna pass that along to Chad too, he probably needs to know that. I don't know who drives that bus route, but.
I'm not sure. That would be for Rick McCurry. I'll let him know tomorrow morning. NC-80. No closures.
Alan, as I was cruising through the church today, shaking hands. Normally nobody hits me up at church about county things, but I did get hit up twice yesterday. And I said I'd follow up. So can we reach out to Zito and understand some timing from them of where?
Yeah.
Specifically, the ledger area would be the one I'm asking about, so.
You're gonna be on hold for about 3 hours.
So the Zito line worker came by the county the other day and I touched base with him. We'd asked him, if one of our workers here in the county, she was kind of trying to get a hard time frame out of them. And
One of
so
those workers goes to my church.
Yeah, one of them, she said, so I live in, she lived down towards, oh man, towards the landfill way, towards Highway 80. And, she said, we've been out, what time frame do you see? And he said, well, we hook up places like, for her to get her internet, they were hooking up somewhere like 10 miles away that livened their lines that had been in a, total blowout, but they're still giving months, not
Days.
that's as of a week ago, we were still getting about 2 months out. They was scared to go any closer than 2 months on it, cause we were trying hard to get some time frame.
Well,
They do not have a very good rating with the.
that's what it seems like. And the other piece of that I got hit up about yesterday was a debris truck, but it was working. It's the road right there where you get the top of the hill past P&R on the left, that you go down by Richie J or the.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
BNC Motors used to be there, that road. Wing Road,
There you
think
go.
of it. So, Phil lives down on Wing Road, actually it's on his porch. So the debris truck drive by and it caught the line that was working. They had a tree sticking up too high and it took the internet out that was working, with.
Was it Zito?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, so they didn't have a line working there, and apparently this debris truck took it out, so. Then maybe if we could just reach out to them and encourage them to come, I would, I've got Zito at my house and a guy showed up one day and just said, hey, are you gonna keep the internet? And I said, yeah, I'd like to. And he said, well, let me hook you back up, and they fixed it. So I never called a soul and I don't know if the fact that the Deer Park was just not impacted like something else, but anyway. Mm-hmm.
Big bones, you've been calling.
We should come ask us.
So that's what I'm saying. I never reached out to anybody.
It's really hard to get a hold of a time frame on there, and they haven't been able to.
Steve, if it makes you feel any better, Zeno goes out at 11 a.m. to school every single day and does not come back until after 3.
Really?
Yeah. Last week, we had no internet after I was talking to you.
So you're at the new middle school, right? So how's the new middle school got internet, and one of the ladies that lives right down literally 2 feet from it, that's.
But he goes out every day at 11, so don't feel bad.
So if you had it, you not have much, but anyway, I told him I would ask and bring that up, and maybe we can talk to the debris folks too, and let them know.
Don't pile.
Yeah, they don't need stuff sticking a mile out of their truck.
I will definitely do that, and I'll talk to Zito. I know I know one of the line people over, it, so, and he's a great guy. But I think they're not staffed up to the point they need to be to get that job done.
I wonder if there's a way that they can reach out. I mean, I'm sure their business model is not to contract with other groups, but you know, with Spectrum or some of these, just to help them get things put back together, you know, if we could get some encouragement, that they could reach out to others to help them, that would be good. Yes.
Anything else? Okay, we'll go to board comments, Ms. Masters.
So just for anybody on the live stream, any of the resolutions that we approve, they can be obtained through the clerk's office, and there's a resolution book, just in case anybody ever wants to read any that we pass here. And then just for a clarity's sake, Alan, on the live stream for people watching, Army Corps is doing waterway debris
Correct.
and SDR, and what was the new business or the new one?
Crowder Gulf
Crowder
North
Gulf.
into the county, SDR South.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure both of those were out there, for anybody watching on the live stream, but, I think that's it.
Mr. Evans.
I don't really have any comments. I appreciate Deidre having orange juice here.
Appreciate Digby for that.
Yeah, for the snacks.
Mr. Lee.
Will be short, I don't have much, but, I do appreciate the information we picked up last Thursday. I think it's very valuable that we can pass on, even have passed some of this information on to several people already. And hopefully it's gonna help them speed up their process with their home and with roads and things they're working on. So we're always learning new stuff. And I do think we're moving along. Every day gets a little brighter.
Mr. Lee.
I would just say, I would echo what you're saying, Dale. I really enjoyed speaking with, Congressman Edwards there and hearing about what they're doing. Just to give the folks in the county an idea, he's been in this county 5 times already, I believe he said, since he's been in office, which is less than 2 years. In the 6 years that I've been on this board, I only know of one, visit that we had from a former representative, and that was Cawthorn, and it was here because he was campaigning, not visiting, I believe. I may be completely wrong. If I am, I'm sorry, but as far as I know, they never came here and talked to us. So just knowing that he's been in the county 5 times, lets you know that he cares about this area. That was the first area he said, you know, that he flew down here with Trump on Air Force One as Trump met his campaign promise to, you know, not to forget the people of Western North Carolina. So I think that's really good. And he's the only congressman that's got a mobile office, which he had in Beulah, had, I think, up to 25 visitors. So, you know, I appreciate somebody that's out there willing to try to go to bat for the folks here in Western North Carolina, and not just our county, but all 16 that he's got. I'd also like to say congratulations to the Ledger Fire District. They have made me a decent county commissioner by getting a 5 rating, which is really awesome. You know, congratulations to Tim and all his team out there. My dad and Roger Wilson have been on me. Oh, he's very excited. They've been on me, basically saying my career as a commissioner was going to be judged by if Ledger got to a 5. So, you know, I could retire and smile knowing that happened.
6 years, brother.
That took 6 years, but we got there. So congratulations to those guys. That's awesome for the people in Ledger. They'll appreciate the new rates.
Quickly agree with what Steve said. Mr. Edwards, I know his staff has been here at least 3 times that I know of. Justin Summers with Bud's office has been here or stays in constant contact. We do have things. They are listening to our conversation in Mitchell County when we get to talk to these folks, and they are taking it back with them. Process is, everything moves too slow. you know, guys, we think on our end, it moves, so we have no idea. High Country Council, dinner. It's March 7th. They had to change it because of the little storm that came through. And I think either in your packet or in your box, Deidre has combined our list, look at your list. The 1, the 3, the 5, sort of make you some highlights. We'll get to that pretty quick. So we can get to moving on this stuff. If we don't want to forget, then, you know, that bypasses. And then I'm just gonna say to each one of you guys, I do appreciate the commitment that you make as an elected official. You go out of your way, you attend meetings when it's maybe not as convenient, even this work. And you do it because you love the county. You know, you don't do it to be recognized. Try to get back information, let's try to make sure voice be heard. So, you know, I think that's huge, and that's all I have to say. At this time, I will now entertain a motion to go into closed session, statutes 143, 318, 11, A6, personnel.
Make a motion.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Passes, we will now be in closed session, Ms. Glenda,